The New York Jets schedule has been released. Let's talk about it. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Talking Jets with Tigo. My name is Tigo, and the schedule has been officially released. Now, we knew who our opponents were going to be all year. Once the season ended, right? We all know who the opponents were going to be. It's very important to talk about how the schedule played out because I actually liked the group of opponents that we had this year. I thought it was going to be a really good mix of what should be get-right games, against opponents that aren't all that strong, and then also a bunch of, true tests of your character and your grit and your mettle when it comes to the New York Jets. But the way that the schedule played out, not ideal. So let's take a look and let's have that conversation. We open up the schedule. We open it against we're going to break this up into 3 chunks. The first 6 weeks, the middle 6 weeks, and the last 6 weeks. So let's talk about the first 6 weeks because I like talking about them in chunks. Because if you look at the first 6 weeks, the opponents line up really, really well for the New York Jets. But the way that they're laid out really put a strain and a stress on the team because you're opening up on Monday night against the San Francisco 49ers, so you have to travel across the country to play them on Monday night. So that's already like a crappy situation because you have to go to San Francisco. Now, the reality is that the San Francisco game, we're going to have to play them any point, and ideally, you would want to play them early rather than late because the same kind of problems that the New York Jets are going to be running into in terms of like health and being able to figure out what your team is, San Francisco is going to be doing the same thing, right? They have to reestablish who they are and what their identity is and do all of those things. And again, like they have to face our defense just as much as we have to face their defense, right? And even with Mike Williams being out of the team probably week 1, Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson, led by Aaron Rodgers, is a good enough offensive trio to beat the San Francisco 49ers. But that's a really rough situation to open up. But the schedule lightens up because now we go into a legitimate possibility of, in our first 6 weeks, facing 5 quarterbacks on their rookie deals, right? Because against the Tennessee Titans, you're going against second-year Will Levis in an entirely new system, right? New head coach, new offensive coordinator, new scheme, new weapons, new offensive. Like, they had to revamp that entire team. Week 2, I don't know how well they're going to be gelling. And at Tennessee and all of that stuff, this is a game that we can come in. I call it the get-right game. Because San Francisco is going to be a tough opponent. We win, we lose. Like, who knows what's going to happen there? But the reality is that you have the opportunity to do a get right. I'm going to do a mini win-loss, just kind of as this conversation. I am just writing it down. And then you follow up week 2, week 3 against the New England Patriots. And this is where it sucks because I don't know if you guys know this, but that's 3 games in 10 days. And that's absolutely ridiculous from the NFL to open up the season for the New York Jets, knowing about all of the players that are coming back from injuries that we have, to give us 3 games in 10 days. And I think the kicker on all of this that really sucks is that we have to wait until week 3 to get the Jets home opener and finally get the home opener in week 3. And it's on Thursday night. Like, this is the part where, like, this sucks. It's not about the opponents. It's about how you laid this out. One, why is the New England Patriots getting a primetime game? That team is absolutely abysmal. There's not a single player on that team that is worthy of carrying them to a primetime spot, especially against the New York Jets. So that's crazy, part number 1. But number 2, dude, the first 3 weeks are absolutely hell. And then you get like a long break and you get to stay at home to play against the Denver Broncos in week 4. And again, another situation where you're either going to be starting and playing against Bo Nix or Zach Wilson. Either way, it's a great situation for the New York Jets because you either get a rookie in week 4 or you get your former quarterback that you kind of know can't throw passes, so you just stack the box and blitz him up. Like, we know how to beat Zach Wilson because we've seen Zach Wilson get beat for 4 years now. And then you travel across the oh, and speaking of the Denver game, it's great that this Denver game is in New York. I would avoid flying over Colorado if you're the New York Jets. If you're a Jets player, you're not allowed to step foot in Colorado unless you're hunting. Just don't go to. It's not worth it. You're gonna pop an Achilles. You're gonna twist a knee. Like, you're gonna stub your toe, and it's gonna end your career. Colorado's a doom state for New York Jets players. Just don't go. Ever. If we ever have to play in Mile High, just forfeit the game. It's not worth it. It's just not worth the win at all. Don't do it. And then week 5, we travel to London to play at White Hart Lane against the Minnesota Vikings. And again, it's a situation where it's going to be week 5 of J.J. McCarthy or Sam Darnold. Like, either situation is a win-win for the New York Jets. And then, again, it sucks because you come back from London and then you play Monday Night Football against the Buffalo Bills at home. And it's just, this is the part that sucks. It's so much travel. It's go to San Francisco, come back, play Tennessee, then turn it around quickly, play the New England Patriots, take a break. Play the Broncos, travel all the way across the pond, play the Vikings, come back, play the Bills on Monday night, then play the Steelers on Sunday night, because we have 6 primetime games. But it's just a lot of travel, and I think you put the Jets in a really precarious situation because your 2 primetime games, you're not giving the Jets an opportunity, in my opinion, to really put their best foot forward in 2 of the first 3 primetime games. Now, if we're just going to be honest here, my predictions are going to be that the New York Jets, through the first 6 weeks, are going to be 4-2. The 2 losses that I have are the 2 Monday Night Football games, the San Francisco 49ers and the Buffalo Bills. I think that we can beat both of those teams, but San Francisco did just go to a Super Bowl, so I'm going to respect that aspect of them. And coming back from London and playing Buffalo, I think that the New York Jets are a better team than the Buffalo Bills, hands down, and I will have us beating them in December. But coming back from London and having to deal with all of that stuff, I don't know how it's going to go. Be a little bit humble, realize what that team can do, and just take the L there. It's not the end of the world. 4-2 after 6 weeks is a great, great record. And now we go back into it, and week 7, it is at Pittsburgh against the Steelers. I don't actually hate this game. It is on a Sunday. It's Sunday Night Football. This is our 4th primetime game in 7 weeks, which is crazy. Then we play away at New England. That should be another win probably there. Then we get a short week, Thursday Night Football against the Texans. And the Texans are a really, really interesting team, but on a short week, I think our defense is going to be able to dominate them, just like we did last year. I think it's a very interesting game. And then we travel to Arizona and play Arizona. And a game that I'm actually kind of excited for is Sunday Night Football, Week 11 against the Indianapolis Colts. Now, why am I excited about this game? Well, because I'm interested in the Indianapolis Colts as a team, just like period. I think that they're interesting. And that's all that I'll say. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to say, like, I support them. I just think that they're interesting. I have no idea what they're going to be or what they're not going to be. I don't know. That's just it. So then we have our Week 12 bye, and let me start by saying I love a late bye week. I love it. I think that being able to rest, relax, recuperate, realign, reposition yourselves, align yourself with the universe, do some ayahuasca, whatever it is that you need to do, stepping away from the game is only going to help the players come back into it with a new mindset, a new mentality, and get ready for the last 6 weeks, plus all of the playoff stuff that we're going to need to do. Load up, gear up, and get ready for the final stretch to go do it. At this point in time, after 12 weeks, and again, this is just gut feeling, I have the New York Jets at 9 wins and 2 losses. The only 2 losses that I have are the San Francisco 49ers and the Buffalo Bills. I think that we can beat all of those teams. Now, can beat them and actually beating them are 2 different things. Obviously, I don't think that the New York Jets are going to be 9-2 at this point because, like, I could see us losing to the Houston Texans. It's a short week, and if they come in with a better plan or whatever it is, they can beat us there. I'm never going to count out the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though they lost to Zach Wilson a year or two ago. They're a team that can get gritty, that can come in, and they can win games. They've got some weapons. But again, we should be able to beat the New England Patriots, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Indianapolis Colts with some relative ease, in my opinion. The same thing goes with the Texans and the Steelers. I think we're just a better roster overall. Final 6 weeks to close out this season. I love how our back half of this season goes because we stay in the East Coast the entire time. You have a ton of travel in the beginning of the season, in the first 10 weeks of the season, and then it all calms down. You stay on the East Coast the entire time from week 11 to week 18, and that's great. And so you host the Seattle Seahawks, which should be great. You're coming off of rest. They're coming off of a travel from across the country, and it's a 1 o'clock game. So you love to see that if you're a Jets fan. And then this is a weird thing. We finally faced the Miami Dolphins for the first time, week 14 and then week 18, or the two times we play the Dolphins, which are very interesting. And week 18 being a home game is awesome for the New York Jets because the Dolphins are a warm weather team. They don't know how to play in the winter, and that is an advantage for us because, well, football in January is different, right? So awesome. You love to see that. So I'll split the games with Miami. So I'll say let's lose at Miami in week 14, then we should probably just stay in Florida to get used to that heat and play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Fun fact, I'm going to try to go to that game because, well, it's right there, and I think that we can beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. Then the LA Rams have to travel all the way across the country. Same situation. They're coming from the West Coast, coming over to the East Coast for a 1 o'clock game. That's not an easy trip to do at all for these West Coast teams. I don't know why the NFL does this. They shouldn't be allowed to. Then we get a revenge game against the Bills because we finally get to not have to rush. We get 7 days. We get to prepare. We're not jet lagged. Nothing. We We annihilate the Bills week 17, and then week 18 at home, we beat the Miami Dolphins. And again, gut feeling, not actually taking into consideration trap games and games that we could lose for no reason and all of these things. I have the New York Jets at 14-3. Now, is this team going to go 14-3? No. Can they go 14-3? Absolutely. The reality is that this New York Jets team can go 17-0 if everything played out perfectly for us. Nobody gets hurt. No, we can go 17-0 because there's not a single team on this schedule that I go, yeah, we're probably not beating that team. I think a question that Jets fans need to ask themselves is, do you think and do you really believe that this is a Super Bowl bound team? I do. So none of these teams really scare me. Now, there are a lot of really good competition on this schedule, but the reality is that you're going to have to beat San Francisco if you want to get a Lombardi trophy because they're probably coming out of the NFC to meet you there. If you want to get to a Super Bowl, you're going to have to go through the Buffalo Bills. You're probably going to have to go through the Houston Texans. You're probably going to have to go through the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Miami Dolphins. Like, these are playoff caliber teams that we're playing, and the great part is 2 of them are in our division. So not only are we going to get high level of competition, but we can prevent them from going to the playoffs anyway. And I love causing misery to the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins. I love it. It brings joy to my heart. But that's the situation. Let me know in the comment section below, what do you guys think of the schedule? If I had to give it a grade, C-. I hate the early travel. I love the late non-travel. And that's that. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And last but not least, go Jets. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw this. I have a signed Elijah Vera Tucker jersey now. Thank you, Gunny. I appreciate you. And that's that.